All right. What's good? What's good, everybody? Really? That's the news for today. There's a new exotic fish in Destiny Rising. That's the news. Come on, dog. No one cares about that. Exotic fish. Crazy. Mods banned that guy. Centipede, what's good? Zombie Inside? Echoes? Tony Hayabusa? It's time! They should have brought back fishing in Destiny 2. I think so. I know Drews would like that. We're just getting cooked up. We got to make Elon buy / make Destiny 3. I don't know. I don't know if he's interested in getting in the looter shooter business. I know it's a meme that Elon Musk could buy it. Obviously, he has the money to do so, but I don't know if he has the desire. He did actually once. What I said once, man. He did actually once mention Destiny 2, but he'd never actually played it from what I know. Maybe he did. Who knows? Excited to hear this news about Sony and Bungie. Well, he's the second best Path of Exile player. Yeah, he's got someone playing on his account, right? So here's the thing. If Elon Musk likes account recoveries because he's doing account recoveries on his Path of Exile thing, then, you know, he'll love Destiny 2. He can do account recovery. He'll have everything unlocked, dude. Bro will be on fucking Sky Coach, dude. #1 customer on Sky Coach. Goddamn, bro will be locked in, dude. He'll have he'll have the Last Wish contest emblem. I don't know. He'll figure it out. Fishing was fun till you got the exotic. Then no one did it anymore. The fishing thing, it was silly, but it wasn't, you know, I didn't really care that much for it. I keep going back to the idea that it's a first-person shooter game, and we need to do first-person shooter things. I know this might be this is a crazy idea. This is an insane premise, right? But maybe in the first-person shooter game, and I'm not being condescending to you watching this, but what I'm saying is in the first-person shooter game, people should do first-person shooter things. And last time I checked, a fishing rod is not a gun. I mean, not yet. We could make it work, right? We could make it happen. Fishing rod's not a gun. You also don't really use it in first person. So not exactly the best thing for a first-person shooter game. That being said, I did enjoy that Sea Bass. Do you ever see that Sea Bass game? You had like a fishing controller, dude. That Sea Bass game on fucking PlayStation 1. That was good, dude. You'd really you get the fish. Fish on! That was a good game back in the day. You guys know what I'm talking about? Anyone else old? Any geezers here? Pull this up, dude. Bass Hunter. PS1. Controller, dude. God, dude, this is a fuck... Dude. This thing was peak. Look at this thing. Well, this is the PlayStation 1, dude.
Welcome to Bass Landing 2 on PlayStation back. Airing controller. You can subscribe. Welcome to Bass Land.
It's on the Dreamcast too, huh? Oh, hell yeah. This is fishing, dude. I enjoyed that. All right. Sony reportedly has a desire for revenge against Bungie. Oh my God, it couldn't get any worse for us. Like, this is why. If this is true, This is exactly why we're in this predicament. Sony leadership has a desire for revenge.
It folds. I'd like to see you wiggle, wiggle, for sure.
Zub, thanks for the sub. They have a desire for revenge against Bungie over live service problems as PlayStation staff push back against the decision to end Destiny 2 support. Wow. Sony leadership reportedly has major frustration with Bungie over live service issues, while some PlayStation staff are said to be pushing back against the end of Destiny 2 support. They're saying, hey, what are we doing this for? These guys, they got, what did we get? We got over 1 million people online every day, and we're at 969,000 from yesterday. Why are we ending this game? Bungie recently released Monument of Triumph, the final live service content update for its acclaimed looter shooter MMO, Destiny 2, marking the end of active support after years of expansions, seasons, events, raids, and Star Wars slop. The game itself is not shutting down, but this is clearly the end of an era for both Destiny 2 and Bungie. What makes the situation even messier is that Monument of Triumph has actually performed very well, exceedingly well, way above expectations. The update has been received positively by many players and brought a big surge in player count across all platforms, with Destiny 2 climbing high on Steam's revenue charts and passing 167,000 concurrent players on Steam. Nice. What's Marathon at, by the way? Ooh. Ooh, that's not looking good. But shortly after Bungie announced the end of active live service support, several reports claimed the studio was preparing for significant layoffs after this final update. More recently, French journalist Sylvain Trinel claimed that at least 50% of Bungie's workforce could be affected, including permanent employees and contract staff. Now, the same journalist has shared more details about what may be happening behind closed doors. Sony reportedly facing internal pushback over Bungie and Destiny 2. Posting on X, Sylvain Trinel claimed that after speaking with sources, including some at PlayStation, there appears to be strong internal pushback over the decision to discontinue Destiny 2's live service support. Let's go! Rally the troops, that's what I'm saying! We got some Guardians behind enemy lines right now, advocating for us. You love to hear this. According to Trinell, some people inside PlayStation reportedly do not understand the decision made by higher leadership. Same. We're all on the same page. What are we doing, Sony? Why are we killing the game that has a massive audience for a game that has 12 people online? He also claimed that some sources described a feeling of revenge from Sony leadership. Damn. Hey, look. Hey, point your shots at Pete Parsons, Sony. Be mad at him. Don't be mad at us. We're just the Guardians. We're just down here trying to play some video games. We're just trying to kill some raid bosses. We're innocent bystanders in this war. We're like dregs, shaking our fists up at like the witness versus the winnower. With Bungie being blamed for problems tied to, quote, a number of issues with their GAAS, games as a service strategy, the GAS strategy. Here is the statement in full. After speaking with my sources, including some at PlayStation, what stands out is many internal resistance/strong pushback, Trinell said. Many people at PlayStation don't understand the decision made at the top to continue D2. Oh man, this is crazy. Now we've got insiders at Sony leaking confidential information, insiders at Bungie leaking confidential information, and this has turned into an absolute insane situation. I don't know if this is true. Obviously, people at the bottom of the hierarchy could just, misrepresent the situation and think that it's going one way when it's actually the other way. it depends on the credibility of their source. Like, is the source the janitor or is the source, the CEO, right? There's a big difference. Some have told me that there's a kind of desire for revenge, as Sony's leadership reportedly blames Bungie for a number of issues with their games as a service strategy. Why is it? I thought this was like live service. Like, what do we, now we're changing it to gas? What? Gas is so weak, dude. Just call it live service game strategy. What are we doing here? We got to keep rebranding and changing the names of everything. This is exhausting, dude. The exact number of layoffs planned at Bungie is still being determined, but I've been told repeatedly that the target is indeed 50%. Wow. That's crazy. That's like the entire Destiny team. Obviously, if Destiny 2 is coming to an end, then it kind of makes sense. So it's not like unfathomable, but we were hoping we were holding out hope that maybe they might see our cries and say, "Hey, you know what? Maybe we'll give that Destiny 3 a try." When asked whether he meant Sony was seeking revenge or Bungie was, Trinnell replied, "Sony executives." Wow. So he specifically has inside sources that believe that Sony is vengeful. That is a very serious claim. As of now, Bungie and Sony have not confirmed any 50% layoff target. There have also not been any other reports of internal PlayStation resistance or Sony leadership wanting revenge against Bungie. However, I would say this, that one, Sony made zero mention of Destiny 2 in their quarterly earnings call, right? And in that they held an impairment against Bungie for 500 million. And they did mention Marathon though. And they said that they were happy with Marathon's performance or something like that. I forget what it was. It was ridiculous, right? So that was the first slight. That was the first time Sony was like, you know what? Fuck you guys. Then you fast forward to the state of play, and they feature Marathon and its season 2. And that obviously went absolutely horrible. I mean, it continues to go horrible to this very day. So you have that one. In Sony State of Play, they mentioned Marathon, but again, no mention of Destiny 2, the #1 IP, the flagship game. And at the time, they even had that trailer cooked up for Monument of Triumph. They could have promoted it in an effort to make it even more successful. Like right now, we have 1 million players online. If we were on State of Play, we might have 1.2 million players online or more, maybe. I mean, I don't know, but it couldn't hurt. Right? It couldn't hurt promoting your #1 live service game. So that gave me the second inclination that they hate us. Then afterwards, Bungie's posted some very sentimental post-mortem, Destiny is dead. We really enjoyed the ride. Thanks for gaming with us, dudes. And Xbox replied to that saying, "Once a guardian, always a guardian," right? Xbox being really nice and sentimental. Again, PlayStation, zero interaction. That was the third slight. Okay, that makes me think that there is absolutely someone at Sony or the executives at Sony fucking hate Bungie or Destiny 2. I don't know which one it is. We've been talking about this before any of this. We're like, clearly there is some animosity here. Like, it's just when Xbox shows more love to Destiny 2 than Sony, the ones that own it, that's when you know there's some shit going down. Like, there's just no way around it, you know? Right now, this information appears to be coming from a single journalist's sources, so take it with a huge, huge grain of salt. Earlier today, journalist Paul Tassi also reported that even with Monument of Triumph's strong player numbers and positive reception, it apparently didn't move the needle when it comes to changing Bungie's plans. According to Tassi, he asked sources if the update's success had changed anything behind the scenes, and the answer he received was no. That's tough, at least from Bungie's side, right? Maybe, I mean, here's the thing. Look, huff the copium with me, all right? Inhale deep for just a moment. Maybe Sony really hates Bungie specifically, and they want to get rid of them and then replace them with someone else. They've obviously done this in the past with certain studios and certain projects at times. So it's possible, or at least other studios have, right? Like we've seen, Microsoft replace Bungie with 343. Obviously, that didn't go over very well. It's a turbulent time right now, but it's possible, right? There could be some things in the works going on behind closed doors that we don't know about. I'm not sure if that's what's happening. I'm just speculating, but as it stands right now, it don't look too good. There's no positive news to recover on this topic, which really sucks because as much as the doom and gloom content is fascinating and interesting to cover, I really do want to actually play Destiny and I really want to see Destiny thrive. The goal isn't to watch Destiny 2 crash and burn and die and dance on its grave or anything like that. The goal is to advocate for Destiny to rise again in any way, shape, or form. Destiny 1 remastered, Destiny 3, we'll take anything, dude. Destiny Gooner game, fuck it if we have to, dude. We'll do what it takes, man. That makes the whole situation feel even rougher for longtime Destiny players. Monument of Triumph seems to have reminded everyone that there is still a real audience for Destiny 2. But if these reports are accurate, that may not be enough to change what Bungie and Sony have already set in motion. Damn, so there it is. And we got an update on the situation where Paul Tassi what is this? Paul Tassi's got an article on this. No, Sony didn't want to get revenge. And then we also got a video. This guy he's milking it, dude. He's absolutely milking 11-minute video and an article. This guy's got he's he's getting the impressions on all ends on all social media. Here we go. No, Sony did not end Destiny 2 Revenge on Bungie. Here we go. The end of Destiny 2 has many fans and devs at Bungie in mourning. An abrupt end for an 11-year series that, up until a few weeks ago, had a plan to keep going well into the future. But now, new information has inflamed the community, saying this axing was part of some plot to get back at Bungie for its transgressions against Sony. I'm here to douse the flames to some extent, as a Bungie source who asked not to be named on the condition of anonymity is pushing back against what's being reported by journalist Sylvain Trinell among the claims. So here we go. Oh, now we have insiders versus insiders, anonymous Sony people versus anonymous Bungie people duking it out in a war of words. Here, what do they have to say? After speaking with my sources, including some at PlayStation, what stands out is mainly internal resistance / strong pushback. Many people at PlayStation don't understand the decision made at the top to continue D2. Yep, including all the 1 million people on Destiny 2 right now. Some have told me that there's a kind of desire for revenge, as Sony's leadership reportedly blames Bungie for a number of issues with their live service strategy. We're just calling it, no, I'm not calling it gas. I won't do it. Here's what my sources said in contrast. The impression from my source was that this information from the Sony side was probably gathered from PlayStation employees who would not be in the know about leadership's motivation and mindset. That's what I'm saying, dude. The janitor, he thought he was locked in, dude. He thought he knew what was going on. So probably not someone that's that higher up. There are employees who have said out loud that they are confused about Destiny 2's cancellation, but this is a company with 12,000. Damn, they got 12,000 employees at Sony? Golly, that's a lot of people. Trinell disputes that his sources are low level and says they are not only within PlayStation. Oh, whoa. Oh, the drama. It's the drama, dude. This is getting crazy. So now you got Bungie guy talking to Paul Tassi saying that guy's sources are weak and low level peasants. They don't know shit. I know what I'm talking about, which, I mean, it sounds like if this is the case that Paul Tassi's source is pretty high up. I don't know if it's like Justin Truman level or what's his name? The guy who's invisible? The guy who doesn't speak, that's meant to speak all the time. Tyson Green. Yes, Tyson Green. Sorry, I literally, it's crazy. You can cover news on a game for, 12 years and not even know the game director's name because he literally does nothing. It's pretty awesome, dude. What a time to be alive. What a time to cover news. This decision was almost entirely about math, profit and loss. Destiny 2 has been losing more money than it's been making, and it has always been a very expensive game to maintain. We know this to be true. They got a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? They got a lot of artists. They got a ton of artists working on that stuff. Those skyboxes don't make themselves. You know what I'm saying? and they ain't cheap to make either. They're beautiful to look at. We love the skyboxes, but they ain't cheap. Sony is not punishing a studio it owns and still considers a pricey asset out of some desire for revenge. Hmm. And no one at Bungie thinks that's the case. Bungie is also not being blamed for the failure of games like Concord, as some have suggested, or the large-scale problems with Sony's recent live service strategy. Damn, some have suggested that was Concord, which is really funny because Concord, if you don't know, was made by the CEO of Destiny 1. The CEO of Destiny 1 left and handed the keys over to our glorious Pete Parson, all right, funded his exotic car collection. And then he decided to fuck off into the sunset and make the world's worst game ever, which is crazy. What an incredible resume. I worked on Destiny 1 for 8 years, and then I made Concord, the worst game ever. What an incredible turnaround. And a bunch of other Bungie devs went along with them and made Concord. And so people attribute Concord to a in part Bungie project. And it's not directly, right? And it wasn't advertised as from the makers of Halo and Destiny, right? It wasn't that level of Bungie input, but there were a good amount of Bungie devs working on that project. I'll show you some proof here. And I can't find it, but there was a video. The video was Dado promoted Concord, did like a sponsored video, right? Telling people to play it and buy it. And in the process, the title of it was like ex Bungie devs made this game, which is, in hindsight, was a pretty rough title. He ended up changing the title eventually because, obviously the outcome wasn't very good for that game. And I guess people don't blame them for that. I don't know. Even if you don't blame Bungie for the failure of Concord, it is a very interesting predicament where Bungie devs made also the worst game ever of all time, right? Like that kind of shows there's some trouble in the water. It kind of shows that even if you work with Bungie, you don't necessarily inherit the Bungie magic or whatever skills they have that makes quality games like Halo and Destiny, right? Trinell has also reported a widely cited figure that says 50% of Bungie is about to be laid off in the wake of Destiny 2's end of service. I can confirm that I've heard a range of potential percentages that does include that number, but it is not finalized yet. I also know there are scores of Destiny 2 devs just sitting around doing relatively nothing, waiting for this to happen. That's tough, man. That's got to feel really weird. Chanel has since said he is sticking to his claims, but I have heard nothing to indicate this high-level revenge idea has some sort of basis in reality. Obviously, Sony is not thrilled with Bungie's performance since its purchase, but there is no desire to punish the studio by erasing an entire franchise. Damn. Though, of course, just because this may have been a decision based on current math That doesn't make it the right one, as fans believe there is still potential in Destiny, and if Destiny 2 was to be discontinued, atomizing support from here entirely seems ridiculous. I can, however, confirm there are no plans to shut off servers, and if Destiny 2 ended, the obvious notion was to at least announce a Destiny 3 and invest in that. As of now, Sony is not doing that, and the coming layoffs would make that essentially impossible for the indefinite future. Bungie fans are eagerly looking for someone to blame, and while the finger may very well be pointing at Sony, the idea that this is somehow personal between a publisher and a developer is incorrect, despite Bungie's underperformance. So that's an interesting topic. Obviously, it's going to be very nuanced in when it comes to the issue of what happened here. It's not just going to be one individual thing, not just revenge, right? It's going to be a combination of a lot of things. And I don't know that Sony cares to get revenge necessarily. If I had to guess, my perception would be that they feel like they were burned pretty badly. Like they spent billions of dollars on a thing that was probably worth millions of dollars. And that's a gross overpayment. And in the process, several people were enriched with tens of millions of dollars. And they kind of, they left and they're enjoying their money. And the rest of us are left just sitting here scratching our heads, wondering how we ended up with this disaster. And it's definitely frustrating. People are looking for who to point the fingers to. Is it Sony? Is it Bungie? Is it this? Is that? Like I said, it's a combination of all of these things to a certain degree. At the end of the day, though, I don't really care who gets the blame. If you want to blame Bungie, fine. Sony, fine. I just want to see Destiny continue on. I want to see a future Destiny project. I want to see the world, the universe that has been built continue to have stories and push forward. So whatever it takes to get us to that destination, that's what I'm looking for. Because while would feel nice if we could blame someone, and a lot of people point to Pete Parsons and say, it's all you, bud. Or people point to Sony and say, you want revenge, and that's fine and all, but none of that gets you a Destiny 3 or a Destiny 1 remastered. So that's my hope. Hopefully we can get to that point, and hopefully we can start delivering some good news one day with Destiny. But it seems right now and for the near future, there ain't nothing but bad news going around. All right. We got bad news about this. Xbox, have you heard the Xbox news? My God, go click on the channel. Go look around. We got countless videos talking about that. Xbox news has been brutal too. The games industry as a whole has gone through it. Someone said the Washington state requires employers to post layoff notices ahead of time. People can check the Washington government warn site for Bungie/Sony posting a notice of when layoffs will happen. Interesting. I wonder how much notice do they have to give it in advance? How much notice in advance does the state of Washington have to give its employees before layoffs are given? It says at least provide 60 days advance written notice to affected employees. All right. Well, that hasn't happened yet. So we've got some time. Let me know what you think about the situation down in the comments below. Video in Google Drive in 3 minutes. If we could get it up ASAP. All right. Sony needs to sell Bungie to NetEase. You think so? Someone's knocking at my door right now, dude. If I don't come back in 10 minutes, call the police. seem to be dripping from the bottom. Yeah, so take your time, do your thing. Okay. I'll be working. I'll work your top computers. Oh, what about the shower? Shower? Oh, yeah, so the shower. It's, this is good on the side. This is not good. This is probably be here working. Gotcha. All right. We are back. All right, I think NetEase did a good job. Nice, good. I agree. I think NetEase would be a good, like, at least if they could license the IP and make a Destiny 3, that'd be incredible. I don't know if that's an outcome that would ever happen, but that would be incredible. Gonna come back defending Sony. Yeah, exactly. The Hiroki Totoki showed up and he just kicked my door down and fucking burned a cigar on my freaking arm and then said, you better change your tune real quick, buddy. So yeah, the thing is, guys, Sony is actually the best and they did nothing wrong in this. And I totally endorse Sony 100%. What's that? And I'm gonna buy a PlayStation 5, even though it's 900 bucks. Two of them. Okay, I'm gonna buy 2 of them. Because I love Sony and you guys love Sony and we all love Sony. So that's what we do around here. It's the way it is. What's good? How's it going? Beers your friend. What's up? All right. Here we go. Here we go. We're gonna talk about this. We'll see what Paul yaps about in his video on this. Did Sony want revenge on Bungie? Or is there much more to this story? Paul Tassi is chirping on his YouTube channel over here. Let's see what he has to say.
All right, I am back with another Destiny 2 video, reporting on some other reporting, something that came from French journalist Sylvain Trinel, sorry, hopefully that's pronounced okay, who had a series of tweets that talked about, first, it was about marathon layoffs, and that really, or not marathon, slip about potential Bungie layoffs coming.
Hey, marathon. Hey, wait a second. Little Freudian slip there, Paul Tassi? Excuse me? What do you mean? Marathon layoffs. Hey, something slipped there, chat. I think they're just saying.
And then later he did some more stuff on Bungie where he said essentially that Sony, part of this was Sony getting revenge on Bungie. I'm just going to read his tweets here. After speaking with my sources, including some at PlayStation, what stands out is mainly internal resistance, strong pushback. Many people at PlayStation don't understand the decision made at the top to discontinue D2. Some have told me there's a kind of desire for revenge, as Sony's leadership reportedly blames Bungie for a number of issues with their games as service strategy. So that got really passed around very quickly that, everyone's very angry about all of this, understandably, as am I. But that quickly gave motivation to paint Sony as like not just cold-hearted, we shut this down, for money, but also they're getting revenge on Bungie for, I don't know, not helping them with their games as service stuff enough, or maybe even like they paid too much and they don't like that. So I obviously wanted to look into this before I commented. I didn't know this journalist, so it wasn't like Jason Schreier, who I can like vouch for, and that framing sounded a little weird to me. So the source I talked to said that their impression was that this information on the PlayStation side probably came from like lower level PlayStation employees.
The janitor leaked it. The janitor said, you know what? He overheard it, right? He was mopping the floors, and he overheard Hiroki Totoki saying, that goddamn Pete Parsons scammed us. I don't know. Who knows what? This is the weird part about leaks, is that they're anonymous, they're vague intentionally, and they're also coming from it's like the telephone game where it's one guy saying one thing to another guy that's saying another thing to another guy that's saying another thing. It's like eventually the whole message gets distorted. We don't know where this person is at on Paul's side or Jason Schreier's side or anyone's side, any of these leaked people within the hierarchy of their company. There's a lot of problems that go with this. We're going to find out if this has credibility, though, pretty soon here when the layoffs are announced. And I guess we won't ever find out about the revenge, unless some Sony executive, posts an angry tweet. But there does seem to be indicators that Sony doesn't like Destiny 2, right? No mention in the state of play, like we talked about earlier. Nothing mentioned about the Monument of Triumph, like no nice sentimental repost or reply, unlike what like Xbox did. And they didn't even mention it in their quarterly financial report where they held that impairment against Bungie. So it seems like they are showing a lot of apathy towards Destiny 2 at the least. Whether that's revenge or anger, I don't know, but it's at least they don't even say the words Destiny 2 right now.
Or if not that, at least employees there that were not really in a position to know what leadership's actual mindset was here. And so this is likely just a lot of speculation on their part. Trinell has said that he says his sources are not lower level and that they're places besides PlayStation, but I'm just relaying.
Not lower level in their places besides PlayStation. Where else would they be to have this information? I wonder. That's actually a really interesting part to all of this. And these people have to be careful, because if they give too much information, eventually they figure it out, right? The sleuths figure out. Do you get fired? Like if someone comes up to you and says, we found out you're the one leaking to Paul Tassi, you're canned, bud. Hit the road, like pack it up. Is that what happens? Do you just straight up get fired? Do you get like penalized? Do you get sued or something, like for breaking your NDA? How does that work? I actually really curious about this. It's kind of fascinating that these guys sign this hefty NDA to protect from things like this, but then still they just do it anyways, but they do it anonymously. And then people like Paul Tassi and Jason Schreier and other people report on it. And it's not necessarily for farming drama. I mean, they don't report on it for the drama. Although sometimes it seems like it bleeds into that with the guy saying for revenge. Like this is like, we're teetering on like not leaking information for factual, clarity. We're teetering on leaking information purely for drama and drama farming at this point, which is, this is a new frontier, right? This is something that you haven't really seen too much of. and we're starting to see, what does this look like for the leakers and leaked information inside a studio.
What my source said in terms of who they think could have like said this sort of thing, and keep in mind that this is a company, PlayStation, with 12,000 employees. So, that could be any any number of people in any number of roles talking about this. And this idea about internal resistance, strong pushback, I've heard that some PlayStation people, like, even said out loud that they were questioning this decision, but I've heard nothing to indicate that this was some sort of fight at the top of Sony and there's like some sort of mass revolt against this idea. And again, like can be any number of 12,000 people there. So this idea of, this was some big revolt inside PlayStation, and the classification of this as revenge is more than a reach.
Interesting. And someone said in the chat, they are somewhat acting like insider traders. You can make some money with these leaks. You could like place your bets, or you could that's what we should do. Should bet on what the next leak will be. I joke, of course. That, or you could understand what to invest your money in. There's definitely some pretty interesting nuance when it comes to these leaked information. And I think it's unusual to me that it's just so commonplace that we don't really think too much of it. Like, I give you a good example is, like, you remember when like the content creator in Destiny, EK, yeah, it was his name Equagan or whatever, right? He like leaked a bunch of confidential stuff from Bungie playtests, and that got passed around to various leakers and data miners, and eventually it came back to him. And if I remember correctly, he got like banned in Destiny 2. And so he, that was like his entire income, his entire livelihood. And don't get me wrong, that's wrong of him to leak that information, right? Like, it's wrong. Like, he signed a hefty NDA saying, I will not leak this information. I will not do this thing. I agree, he's, hand on heart, right? And then he leaks it though, and then he's punished accordingly. And it's also seen as pretty taboo to engage with the content as well with the leaked information. However, in these types of situations, we basically just ignore all of that. We're like, you know what? Fuck it. We're like, fuck it, dude. Just fucking leak anything you want, dude. And break the NDA. Fuck, what's an NDA? NDA schmendia, right? And I find it fascinating because it's a thing that's so normalized. And I'm curious as to why it is so normalized. I mean, I'm not against it here. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about it no matter what. But I'm curious why it's just so normalized. Like, it seems like we punish people so heavily. Like, it definitely hurt EK to get banned in Destiny 2. That was his entire livelihood. I don't even know what he's doing anymore. But he ain't streaming Destiny 2, right? So, this the implications of these leaks are pretty powerful. It's why these guys remain anonymous, obviously, because I would assume they would get in hefty legal trouble for this.
This decision, again, my source continues, is math. I mean, the idea here is that Destiny 2 was costing more money than it made. I don't know exactly how long that's been going on, but as we know, Bungie almost shut down, when it was independent. I know Liana was talking about that, but that wasn't new information. We got the information previously.
All right, we're back.
And Destiny's been very hard to run because it is a very, very, very expensive game to maintain. I said on Twitter that like I can't think of many other games that produce this much content at this pace, other than something like Genshin Impact, and it doesn't have the model of like a WoW subscription or like gacha gambling. So costs are high, and I certainly think there are benefits to maintaining a game, even if it's like not super healthy. But the point being here is that this is largely just a math thing, and Sony doesn't want to just keep throwing money into Destiny eventually. And then obviously we've already talked about the idea of greenlighting a Destiny 3, which would cost hundreds of millions of dollars over the long term. I'm not saying these decisions are right. I'm just telling you why they were made. And this idea of taking revenge on a company that you own because like their game was underperforming, or and shutting down an entire series because they didn't help your games as service thing enough. Like, you don't take revenge on your own studio, that you pay.
That's a good point. You don't take revenge on them, but I could see you just obviously you have to like lay them off or, like end your arrangement, right? Like revenge doesn't help you. Like it's a money thing, it's a numbers thing, right?
Paid $3.6 billion for, and you still value at almost a $3 billion asset, and you're still having, continue to make games. One game right now going forward. That's just not really a thing that happened. No one at Bungie, from what I've heard, like thinks this is some sort of revenge plot. Like I think everyone's pretty clear this is a dollars and cents issue for the most part. And even if they're really, really upset, it's happening. This idea that Sony is punishing Bungie for, misdeeds is just not really a thing. So like, I'm not saying I don't believe that people may have told him this idea about revenge, but I don't know if it was framed or like said exactly like that, or I don't know if it's just like a problem with the framing. But what's being spread around is like this is personal between Sony and Bungie, as if these are like people, in entities in and of themselves. And Destiny was doing fine, and they just were mad at Bungie, so they did this. Like that,
like some high school drama.
Didn't happen. I will say, keeping going with Channel's reporting, I was able to confirm that. So before all this, he said that 50% of Bungie was going to get laid off. I did some poking around about that. I know a range of potential percents that are likely, and that number does include 50%. Like I don't want to say exactly the range, but I can confirm that is at the very least possible and being considered. I don't think anything is finalized yet. And this also may not be a giant surprise, given that Destiny is dead and you have hundreds of people working on that now have nothing to do. I've talked with other people that relay that there are just scores of Destiny team members kind of sitting around wondering what to even do at this point.
Yeah.
Given that the content is
the artists twiddling their thumb right now. You have no skyboxes to make.
And there's not like patches coming, and I think everyone is kind of waiting for the inevitable, which sucks. That's got to be like an awful feeling. I don't know exactly when all this is going to go down, but again, like I said yesterday, there's not some grand reversal in strategy here, and they're going to keep the Destiny team like because everyone is so excited about the update. Like, unfortunately, that's just not happening. So I think it's just kind of going back to what we knew already, where this just simply costs too much to maintain in Sony's perspective. And at least right now, they don't see value in generating some other IP from Destiny instead, whether that's a sequel or something else. I have no word that something has been greenlit since I last talked about this. And some people are asking like, oh, well, if they greenlit some incubation thing or some new Destiny project, could that prevent the layoffs? The problem with that is like, if you just start incubating something, you only really need a very small team, not these hundreds of people that need to stick around and have jobs. That would be something that would grow over time. And as we know, all games take years now to make, kind of almost no matter what size. And then obviously a Destiny 3 would take eons. But as I've said, nothing has changed on that front in terms of future plans, even with how successful this has been. Um, so I know Trinell commented on this and said that he's sticking to his reporting and he thinks I'm being condescending, which I wasn't trying to be, but
Throwing shade at his sources, Paul. Unbelievable. The drama, dude.
this just doesn't line up with A, what I've heard from sources I trust, and B, what I would consider basic logic of a publisher getting revenge on a developer it owns by shutting down an 11-year franchise. I mean, you could say that shutting down an 11-year franchise is a bad idea in and of itself, and there should have been some way to make this work, which I agree with, but it's not some sort of like vendetta thing, even if Sony is disappointed in Bungie. I mean, they are. Like, clearly they wish Destiny had bigger numbers. They wish Marathon had launched better. They wish that Bungie was able to better help out their other games of service, but like Bungie's not being blamed for like Concord or, everyone says that Bungie killed The Last of Us Online, but that was really The Last of Us Factions. That was really Bungie telling Naughty Dog exactly what it takes to maintain a live service game forever. And Naughty Dog was like, no thanks. And then they went and made Intergalactic, which is what they're good at, which I think was probably the right call. Because we've seen so many single player game developers try to do multiplayer, and that almost exclusively does not go well. So this is all obviously still bad. I just wanted to kind of comment on this because it has been so virally spread over the last 24 hours. I mean, if Trinell has something new to say, I will ask on my end about that. But and I did confirm his stuff about layoffs, but I'm not saying I don't think he was told this necessarily. I just don't know if that is true, and it does not seem to be true based on what I know and how these sort of companies operate. So anyway, there's plenty to complain about, but
There it is. That's a breakdown from Paul Tassi. And I actually agree with his assessment, even though revenge is an interesting narrative to spin from Sony and their interactions with Bungie, especially in the death of Destiny 2, the end of its live service. I would say that revenge is like an emotion. And a lot of these guys, they're motivated by money more than they are their emotions, right? Like Pete Parsons doesn't seem to be the most emotional guy. Bro has like 50 exotic cars and a massive garage just to hold them. He's not on Twitter talking about how sad or upset he is. He hasn't tweeted anything in regards to Destiny 2. He's enjoying his car collection, right? And I would imagine the Sony higher ups, the executives, the suits, they care about money at the end of the day. They want to make their investors happy. They want to make more money. And revenge is not really something they care too much for. Although it is a fascinating dilemma. I mean, I would love to see what the specific reference is towards. Like, what did they overhear specifically, or what did they see written down, or what gave them that implication? Without there being an actual cited statement or the thing that reflected revenge, it feels like we're just reporting, emotions that are probably from low-level individuals in Sony, if I had to guess. People that don't really know what they're talking about. And we have seen this before. We were recently talking about this with other individuals at Bungie that were, new hires or low-level hires that seem to think that they know as much as the CEOs all of a sudden, which is, not that's not how that works, right? You don't get hired at Bungie and then get to sit at the round table with the game directors and the CEOs and discuss the inner workings of their entire business strategy. But let me know what you think about it down in the comment section below. Crazy topic. All right. Oh, that's loud. All right, chat. Revenge is mine, saith the Hiroki Totoki. Star Wars Revenge of the Sony. What are the news stories we got here, chat? What's good, Razio? How's it going? What you up to? How has Destiny 3 not been in development for years? Seriously thinking more DLC was a better decision than launching D3 is just stupid. Well, the problem is that I'll give you the real breakdown of what they're thinking. So, if Destiny is a project that's barely cutting it day to day in terms of its revenue, right? Then investing in a bigger project is more risky with an IP that has a proven model of basically just I'm not going to say mediocre success, but its margins of success are mediocre. So it's a lot of money that Destiny is moving around, but it's not moving a ton of profitability. So it's kind of a frustrating dilemma. It's kind of like imagine you own a company that, that generates $1 billion of revenue a year, right? But it also costs you $1 billion to run it. It's like, okay, well, that's $1 billion, but like it also costs $1 billion. So you're not, you know what I'm saying? So you're paying all your employees good, but you're not profitable. And so that's kind of the issue. The 5 feet Pantheon's killing you. I have no one to do with. Damn. But we have a team of people we're doing it with. When we team up here pretty soon, I'll be able to get you in here. I don't know when that will be though, so don't wait around for it. All right, so this is what the tweet reads here. Sony is not seeking revenge against Bungie. Can the studio sustain itself with just Marathon? And how many devs would it take to begin the incubation project of a Destiny 3? Are all questions and comments that are talked about in this one thread. So let's break it down. Paul Tassi says, all right, my sources at Bungie, not Sony, on the revenge storyline. The impression is that this reported info probably comes from PlayStation employee observers, not anyone high up with significant knowledge of leadership's mindset. And the journalist that reported this said that their insider isn't just Sony, but it's also outside of Sony and that they're not low level. So you have some drama and some backlash there. Some at PlayStation have publicly wondered why D2 is ending support, but keep in mind there's like 12,000 employees there, so it could be any one of them. This is almost entirely financial. It's a numbers game. It's simply D2 costs more than it made. It's math, cruel math, but math. No one at Bungie has any belief this is some revenge idea right now. And keep in mind, a lot of people say, well, why not develop a Destiny 3? Someone just asked about this. And the problem with Destiny 2 right now is that it's kind of running it close, like it's razor thin margins. And obviously the last year it was probably running into the red. So they probably decided to cancel it for that reason. So that's why you don't greenlight a Destiny 3. Typically, you greenlight a bigger, more ambitious project when you are experiencing that mass wave of profitability. So, i.e., that's what Bungie would have been and where Bungie would have been in their positioning, maybe in the early 2000s, right? Shortly after the Forsaken era, I imagine. They were basically stockpiling cash and making tons of money, especially from the pandemic, which created a massive surge of people staying in their house and therefore playing tons of video games and spending money on video games, right? They instead didn't take that money and invest it into a more ambitious Destiny 3 project, but decided to diversify their portfolio and have various different IPs in various different genres of gaming, one being a MOBA game called Gummy Bears, another being an extraction shooter called Marathon, another one being Project Payback, which is like a third-person Destiny game, is what I've been told. There was a lot of different ideas and things that were worked on, none of which were a Destiny 3, though, which is definitely unfortunate. They felt like the solution to escape their Destiny debt and their Destiny problems was to invent new games and create new IPs more so than reinvest in the proven model And unfortunately, we can look back now and we can see that that was the bad decision. But, when you're in that position at that time, it's hard to know. You kind of think in your mind. I imagine Bungie devs thought to themselves, Destiny 2 is a cash cow. Destiny 2 stays live service, and it's going to be the next WoW where it just has year after year, expansion after expansion. It goes on and on and on and on and on, right? And so there's no need for a Destiny 3. We'll just use the money we made from this to make these spin-off projects, and then we'll create a whole ecosystem where if one game does well, it can fund the other game and vice versa. Like that was their strategy. This is not some dumbfounded, insane strategy necessarily. Other studios have done this. It has been a proven model of success, a risky one, albeit, but a proven model of success for a lot of different studios. It's, it's diversifying your portfolio. This is smart money investment in general. The only problem for Bungie is that their spin-off projects and their IPs were all disastrous, right? They were all Concordian in quality, and unfortunately, that didn't work out for them. It is obvious to everyone at Bungie has not performed well, and it is not exactly Sony's golden child. So they know that Destiny 2 has been struggling. But this idea that Sony is blaming Bungie for Concord and the rest of the live service stuff is a huge reach. Sony isn't doing this to punish Bungie for some transgression via its live service plans or game underperformance. Again, people blaming Bungie for Concord because there were Bungie devs that worked on that. Despite atomizing Destiny 2 support to the point where there won't even be hotfixes, there are zero plans to wind down actual servers. So take anything too hyperbolic with a giant pile of salt. Like the basics may be true, but Bungie didn't live up to what Sony wanted. Some employees working at PlayStation may not understand or like this move, but this isn't as cloak and dagger as it's being portrayed. It's corporate, albeit that is obviously its own kind of bad. I'll probably have a piece or vid about this tomorrow, but I see this spreading like wildfire. So there you have it. That's Paul speaking, at least from Bungie's side of things. We're going to find out who's right in the situation. I don't know. Will we find there will be layoffs, and that's already confirmed, but is it revenge? That I don't think we'll ever get a solid answer from that. It's not like someone's going to leak a voice memo or it's like written down on a piece of paper that some Sony executive hates Pete Parsons or something, right? Ascross chimes in here with a different topic, but an interesting one. How is Marathon going to sustain the remaining half of the studio? Paul says, I'm not sure anyone has any idea at this point, but it is still getting more time to evolve for now. Bungie needs something else greenlit, and Sony has to be okay with the long-term investment that's not going to print money tomorrow. You would imagine they'd be used to that. And someone said, let's say something Destiny related is greenlit by Sony. How could they possibly expect Bungie to produce it if the little Destiny team remaining is likely going to be the one gutted? In this case, a new project would need a much, much smaller team in the early stages to build it up, only adding way more in time. So even that happening tomorrow would not prevent a ton of layoffs. So keep that in mind. The biggest time when you need a massive studio is during production. It's not during the incubation stages. Basically, your team scales up and up and up in size as you get closer towards that delivery date. Pretty crazy stuff. Let me know what you think about it down in the comment section below. Watch Gummy Bear projects be Legos. I have no clue what that's going to be, man. I have absolutely no clue what that's going to be. All right. Let's see what else we got in here. Okay, perfect. Got that. Sounds good. Oh no. The journalists are duking it out on Twitter right now, dude. It's war. It's an absolute war zone. Sylvain Trinell, who's a journalist that recently reported that Sony is seeking revenge on Bungie, has been called out by Paul Tassi, saying that his sources are probably low-level employees that don't know what they're talking about. And they've fired back now, saying this: just a quick clarification about Bungie slash Destiny. Oh my God, sorry. I'm sticking with my info. No, my sources aren't only at PlayStation, so they have separate non-PlayStation sources. Interesting. Wonder what that would mean, what that would be. So maybe they have Bungie sources as well? Really? That's crazy. And thirdly, no, my sources aren't just, quote, regular employees. Dang. So he's saying, no, my sources are better than your sources. He's saying, bro is out here literally saying, my dad can beat up your dad, all right? Don't mess with me. This is some crazy high school drama going on right now. This is kind of hilarious. Honestly, dude, this is incredible. So no janitors, dude. Yeah, it wasn't the janitor that leaked the information. Who's higher up? Whose rankings are higher, right? We're going to have to create a leaker tier list, okay? Who has the best leakers? Who has the higher up guys, right? Between Jason Schreier's leakers, between Paul Tassi's leakers, between Sylvain Trinell leakers. Who's got the higher up? Hey, can I get a leaker? Can I get someone to leak some information to me? Right? If you don't know, this is basically like the infinite money glitch. You have actual inside information from Bungie that you get to report on and no one else gets to. Anyone, if there's a Bungie dev out there, reach out to me. All right, please leak something to me. And I could use the free, apparently it's free views, right? Someone said, Jerry. Yeah, that's exactly where we're at right now. We're going to have a creator clash between the journalists in a minute here. Just because you don't know my work doesn't give you a reason to be patronizing. Damn. He's saying that Paul Tassi is patronizing him just because he doesn't know his work, which is crazy. That's actually crazy. I felt like Paul Tassi was actually being pretty neutral in the situation. He's trying to just be logical. I agree with Paul on most of his opinions. He has a similar approach where he's focused on like evidence and logic, and he's really not a drama guy much at all. I feel like he's tapped into drama a little bit from time to time. He maybe gets his emotions twisted with some of his marathon opinions, perhaps, and even his Destiny opinions a little bit. But by and large, he's trying to be a journalist with some journalistic integrity. So, bro's not out here trying to, start a bunch of drama with people. But still, this is a crazy call out. And considering that this is the person that also reported the emotional response from PlayStation with, seeking some revenge narrative, right? Like Star Wars Revenge of the Sony level narrative here. I feel like this kind of is matching a sort of pattern, perhaps. That's all I'm saying. I'm kind of starting to see, and maybe we're wrong. Maybe we'll find out more about this, and maybe we will get justice for Sylvain, and Sylvain will get his triumphant moment to, laugh at Paul Tassi and others. But at this point in time, you can kind of see, all right, look, we're getting a little too emotional here. We're just trying to dispute the facts, and some people are going to, whenever you report facts on a given topic, there's going to be people that are going to apply different analysis and maybe even dispute some of your claims. And that's okay. It doesn't necessarily make them a bad person. Doesn't mean that Paul is seeking revenge on you all of a sudden necessarily. But it's turned into quite the drama at this point. And honestly, I'm here for it, dude. This war of words should be interesting, dude. Yes. We got to create the promotional graphic. Paul Tassi versus Sylvain Trinell at the UFC White House 2 card for the championship belt. #1 Bungie leaker insider. Dude, the belt. Yeah, that's going to be awesome, dude. Who's going to win that one, though? That's what I want to know. Who's going to win the belt? Feelings are getting hurt everywhere. Feelings are getting hurt everywhere. The UFC White House 2. Yeah, dude, the UFC White House 2 event. It's going to be incredible, dude. This is peak content right now. The celebrity death match, dude. You remember that? The like cartoon celebrity death match? That was funny. All right. All right, we got to do this video. Got it. Thank you. Good. Video's going to go live at 2. Just a bunch of Destiny news creators fighting in a Chuck E. Cheese parking lot. That's what I'm saying. That's where we're at with it. It's honestly, it's incredible. What has this Sylvain Trinell guy reported on? Let's do a deep dive on this guy then. All right, let's do a deep dive on this guy. Questionable style. I'm kidding. He's got a Guardian. Hey, wait a second. What is he? Is he a warlock? Oh, dude, I already don't trust this guy. No. He's a warlock? Oh, fuck no, dude. Oh, hell no. We're not, dude. He just lost all of his journalistic credibility instantly. No shot. That's crazy. The French journalist so English is his second language, I think. BFM TV. The première chaîne d'info de France. Retrouvez Noir sur TikTok. Dude, I can't speak French, dude. Member of, this doesn't even sound like a real organization. SDJBFM TV. That sounds like someone bashed their head against the keyboard. Podcasts. Okay, he's got his own. This guy seems legit, actually. He's got a saga on Netflix. This guy is very legit. He's just French, so we haven't heard of him because we don't speak French, I guess. Being French is already enough reason to not trust him. Surprised he hasn't surrendered already. Ah! Oh, the surrender, dude. Oh my god. We did. This man's so dirty, dude. That's crazy, dude. That's insane. I've worked on investigations before. Apparently my mistake is being a French journalist rather than an English-speaking one. Dang, dude. That's the thing. Here's the thing I'll tell you right now. Look, you don't have to like it, but here's the thing I'll say. As soon as someone gets super emotional in a debate of facts or of evidence, I'm like, meh. I mean, I'll cover the news of it still, but I'm like, meh, not interested. I find that style of rhetoric to be so lowbrow and obnoxious. Like, dog, it ain't that. Like, we're not trying to throw, it ain't drama, dog. Like, we're just trying to debate what is actually happening here. So, personally, I'm not a fan, but hey, you know what? Let him do his thing. This is why the journalists, though, I feel like the journalism and the journalists, it's like, they get a lot of flack for a reason. I've been so fascinated by all of this Destiny news. So many came back to the game. People are begging Sony to take our money for D3. Sony refuses, wants Marathon. Yeah. Marathon, dude. Marathon is seeing numbers that are brutal right now. God damn, poor Marathon, dude. Pour one out for the homie Marathon. Look at these numbers. 7,000 people online? That's insane, dude. 7K is nuts. What does the 1 month look like? So we got 40,000. It's already right back down here. Look at where this is where we were at before. We were at 10,000, 11,000 before, and we are basically back there again. And we haven't even finished the first month of the new season. Like, this new season started June 3rd. This new season started 2 weeks ago. And we're back to where we were before. Like, do you understand there's still 2.5 more months of this? 2.5 more months of this. I wonder, do you think it actually regulates at 11,000 for the next 2 months? Or do you think it goes below 11,000, below 9,000, below 7,000? What is the end of season 2? What is its last 2 to 3 weeks going to look like, I wonder? That's what I'm actually curious about. Genuinely curious. Not even to like to prey on the downfall of it. I find the live service studies to be fascinating. I actually don't think they want Marathon anymore. I feel like there was probably a, what is that called? A contingency plan? Is that what I'm thinking of? I'm going to educate myself on some English today. A contingency plan is a proactive strategy designed to help organizations or individuals respond effectively to unexpected events, emergencies, or worst-case scenarios. Dude, I'm telling you, that's the word of the day. Contingency plan. Expect the next 14 videos of me to use that, okay? Last month, my word was multifactorial. Someone came in chat and made fun of me for that, so now I can't say that anymore. And now I say nuanced instead. In the future, now we're using a contingency plan. That's the new one. What's good, Slim Shady? How's it going? That's the new word of the week, dude. The word of the month. Next 14 videos. New contingency plan emote coming in hot. That's what it was, though. It was there had to be a contingency plan. I still like multifactorial. You'd like that? I mean, I feel like it rolls off the tongue nicely. It kind of makes me sound like I'm a fancy journo guy that like actually was educated and didn't just, you know, fucking drop out of college. So we try to use the big words, but yeah, multifactorial. Unfortunately, we got roasted for that. Someone came in chat and they roasted me. Now I can never say it again, dude. It's fucking banished. Banned word now. Use that word around here, you're fucking cooked, dude. You're timed out for 3 weeks. We'll see you in fucking Destiny 3. Titans can't be educated? Oh, damn. Look. A contingency plan is a plan when shit hits the fan. Shit hit the fan for Marathon, right? It hit the fan. It was spraying around like a wet fucking diarrhea shit in the fan. That was Marathon. Just fucking a squirter right into the fan. Right? Like you had some bad Taco Bell. That was the launch of Marathon. However, due to their live service ambitions, they probably had a contingency plan where even if things were bad, they were going to give it a period of time so it could potentially recover from a poor outcome. That's the only reason why Marathon's going on right now. Do you think they're really sitting over there saying, wow, dude, we really are we got our new cash cow here. The TWID just dropped? TWID just dropped, my dudes. This has got to be a nothing burger TWID, right? Oh, the art. Oh, the art. I'm so sad. Dude. Dude, no. Our weekly blog entries. No. No. It's not the last TWID yet, but it's getting closer, my dudes. Dude, I'm going to cry when I read the last TWID. 1000%. I can't hold it in, dude. Reading the TWIDs have been such a joy for me. I love catching up on the news and like being like informed on Destiny 2. And I love the conversations in the comments, dude. I'll never get to read another TWID pretty soon here. And it's heartbreaking. You know what's crazy is the Traveler healed. The Traveler healed. It healed. The tramp stamp it healed, and we didn't get to watch it. No off-screen healing. I feel like they should have like 10,000 warlocks from the tower throw a healing nade into the sky. They all hit the traveler, and then it fucking heals itself from that triangle that the witness cut into it. One more community challenge? Oh no, come on. What is this one going to be? It's time to relive the final battle against the witness one more time. Excuse me? We're going back and killing... Dude, we are literally going back and killing the witness because we are retconning the story of Destiny 2, and we are turning it into the witness was the final battle, and that was it. This is actually beautiful. Destiny 1 made 500 million in 1 week. That's true. But it wasn't like that number is actually reported in a way that's very I'll explain. I'll talk about more of that later. All right. It's go time, chat. Bungie has just issued the most incredible retcon of all time. We are doing a community challenge, and we are going to go back. We are going to kill the witness one last time, and we're going to pretend that's where the narrative ended. This week in Destiny, we only have a few TWIDs left, so we are going to read every last one until the doors shut. Until the lights shut off, we will be there playing Destiny 2, covering the news. The community challenge this week is Excision, ergo sum. We have one more community challenge ready for you all, Guardians. If you don't know, these community challenges began a few months ago when they issued the one that you had to do like medieval, where you had to use like a glaive and go back to do an old dungeon. And then they started to apply a few different community challenges so you could earn different emblems in the game. Some of them better than others. At a certain point, they just turned into run around and shoot dregs, and it wasn't very inspiring. This one seems different though. It's time to relive the final battle against the witness one more time. Complete the Excision story mission on normal or Grandmaster difficulty to add a community goal of 250,000 total completions. 250,000 times we need to kill the witness. Why that number specifically? Why not 1,000,000? Why 250,000? We can crush this goal, right? Grandmaster completions will count 7-fold because Bungie number. Plus, it's harder. Okay, this is sound logic. This is Titan logic. And also, Excision on Grandmaster rewards, the Ergo Sum Catalyst, a fine prize in its own right that some Guardians may not have obtained yet. So, what a better opportunity to earn it than during a time of celebration when new and veteran players are enjoying Monument of Triumph. Was this recently added? Was the Catalyst recently added into this? If so, then it makes sense that they would want to pump up the numbers because it might be hard to clear it without. I'm not sure. I don't know how difficult that activity is. I haven't done that since the final shape came out. If the community goal is met in 7 days, sensing a theme here, it's the Bungie number. That's what it's the 7 days is the Bungie number. And if you do it counts as 7. See what they did there? All Guardians who have completed Excision at least once during the community challenge will receive the Intrepid Pearl emblem. Bungie fans and old timers will tell you why this one is special. We'll share updates on the community's progress on socials during the week. Oh, this is the throwback, the retro emblem. Here's a complete rundown of the rules and requirements to participate in this community challenge. While some of these may be obvious, we want to list all the details to be thorough. Duration. It starts on June 18th at reset time, or no, wait, Pacific time? This is past reset time. This is 2 hours after reset time. It ends on June. So you got 1 week. You got a full week to get this done. Activity, do the story mission Excision. That's like where you go like 12 people in versus the witness, right? Difficulty, normal, you get +1, Grandmaster +7, huge. Community goal is 250,000 total completions. Other considerations. Okay. First off, use the cheese. Can we push the witness off the edge of the map? Is that how can we kill him by pushing him off instead? Fire team, 12 players are recommended. Fire team members can join mid-activity. Join in progress clears do not count toward the community goal. Oh. Only fire team members who complete the activity will count as having contributed to the community goal and qualify for the emblem. Each player who completes the Excision story mission contributes to the community goal, meaning a 12-player normal difficulty completion counts as 12 completions, while 12-player Grandmaster difficulty will count as 84 completions. It's been 84 years. Matchmaking is available on normal Excision, but not on Grandmaster Excision, which is available in Fireteam Finder. As with previous community challenges, we will be tracking completions with support from the analytics team. Emblems earned during the community challenge will be granted no later than 30 days after the challenge ends on June 25th. Good luck. I love this, dude. This is the most beautiful retcon. We are going back and we are going to murder the witness as a community once more. And that's the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Edge of Fate, who? Renegades, what? That never happened. It was a Mandela effect. Look, comment down below if you played Renegades or if you played Edge of Fate. Go ahead. Mods ban every single person that comments it. It didn't happen. It didn't exist. We killed the witness, and that was the end of Destiny 2. That's what we tell everyone. That's what we tell our future generations. We got wallpapers to commemorate stuff. We got a soundtrack here to the Monument of Triumph. Look at these wallpapers. The Traveler healed from his tramp stamp, and we didn't get to see it. It was off screen. I would love to see that in real time, though. Imagine 10,000 warlocks from the tower hurling healing grenades up into the sky. They land on the Traveler, heal up his triangle wound, right? Or they put like a big Band-Aid on him, you know, like a huge Band-Aid over it, a little bit of aloe vera, some ointment, some Neosporin on it. And then slowly it heals over time. And then he's back to where he is. And then he descends down to the tower once more so we can gaze upon his baldness. It's beautiful. It's really, it's an incredible, it's a better narrative than Lightfall. You can't deny me that. Update 9701 patch notes. While last week's patch notes detailed all the ways in which the dev team poured their heart and souls into making Destiny 2 a rewarding place for Guardians to always return to, this week's update centered around fixing major bugs and issues that impeded the gameplay experience. We worked to refine as much as we could so you could keep coming back to the game in the best state it could be in. All right, here it is. Got activities coming up, featured raids. They're going to be on a rotation, dungeons, etc. Nice. If there's some loot in here that you want, make sure you jump in there and get it. Very good. The player support report. The game's bugged. The whole game's bugged. We're pushing raid bosses off. Truth is OP, etc. Yep. Good. That's right. Yep. There's always, dude. 71 pages of patch notes means 71 pages of bugs. Ours of the week goes to these individuals. This is nice. This is great work. We love to see it. We got here. Oh, nice. This is awesome. Very good. And lastly, we got the Everdrift. Ooh, very cool. Like the art style. Sparrow Racing League. Very cool. Very cool. We got movie of the week here. Very nice. Multiple movies of the weeks. 4 of them. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for joining us for another TWID. As a reminder, we're continuing to post TWIDs through our launch window. Soon, our weekly blog entries will be entering a form of hibernation as well. The last TWID, dude, can you imagine? We at least got a few more. It sounds like it's lining up to that June 1st update. Maybe they'll do the last one on June 7th. What is June 7th? Bungie Day? Oh, no. June 7th, July 7th, rather, is Bungie Day, and that lands on a Tuesday. Imagine if the very last message we get from Bungie is on Bungie Day. Damn, that's going to be rough. Until then, though, we've been blown away by the love and support Guardians have shown for Monument of Triumph. This update was for you, and seeing all the art and videos celebrating Destiny 2 has been heartwarming to us on the community team. Keep it coming. What have you all been doing in Monument of Triumph, cheese and raid bosses? What are your goals, newest builds, or triumphs you've been aiming for? We'd love to hear about them. Destiny 2 community team. There it is. That's it. One of the last TWIDs that we're going to see. There's only a few left. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. We'll keep you up to date on all things Destiny 2 until it's gone. Once it's gone, though, We're out in the wild, dude, covering the larger gaming news sphere. And we're already doing it to a certain extent. If you haven't seen, we covered Gears of War, $400 million price tag. That was kind of crazy. Xbox, there's all kinds of drama going on with that. And make sure you are locked in, and we'll keep you updated on all the news of the larger gaming world as we leave Destiny 2 eventually here, sadly. What's up, Blackfire? How's it going? McKinney Sand with the tier 1 and 69 months. Thank you, McKinney Sand. Appreciate you. Who's going to go to GCX this year? And we're going to go to GCX. They're going to do a celebration of Destiny life. It's going to be so sad. If you're going to GCX, it's in Orlando. It's a community convention that is... It started as a Destiny convention, and then it turned into something else, but it's still pretty much like a Destiny convention, let's be real. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the Destiny people be showing up here for a reason. And, yeah, it should be a good time. Looking forward to it. I will be there. I will be there. And all my friends are going to be there. We got BW is going to be there. We got Dwayne. We got Crimson. We have, unfortunately, Daruz will be there. My God. Really not looking forward to meeting that guy. But unfortunately, I will have to hang out with Daruz in real life, which is something I've been trying to avoid for years now at this point. Discarded TV will be there. Let's go, Discarded. We love to see it. You have Discarded TV at G6. We'll get to meet you there. Hopefully, we'll meet a few others. It's a great time. And the beautiful part is that the convention is literally inside Universal Studios. So it's like you can't have a bad day there, because if you're not having fun at the convention, you literally just go inside Universal Studios. You just go inside Islands of Adventure or whatever, you know, like, you know, it's not that you would have that bad of a time necessarily, but, you know, there's plenty to do there. It's awesome. Good time. It's a good place to be. And we will see you there, Discarded. I wish I planned on it, but I got to work, says Raid Hunter. No worries. Do your job. Hey, if you can't make it, guess what? We're going to be there live streaming the whole thing, so you can live vicariously through me and through the live stream. Well, we're going to have a full setup streaming the whole thing, so you'll get to see everything. It's going to be awesome. So if you can't make it, don't worry. The live stream coverage, we'll have you covered the whole way through, dude. We'll got you the whole way through. That's what I'm saying, Raid Hunter. Yep. So you can watch it. Maybe you can even watch it while you're at work, dude. Make money and watch the live stream. Dude, this is crazy. GTA 6 could sell as many as 46 million copies at launch, which would potentially make it the biggest game release in history. I mean, that's what it's expected to be, right? The expectations for GTA 6 are high. The bar is being set super high. This report came to us from Piper Sandler. The estimate is based on data from previous AAA launches and activity from the Reddit r/GTA 6 community, which analysts used as a way to measure player interest. For comparison, GTA 5 sold around 11 million copies in its first 24 hours in 2013. God, that was that long ago. You know what's crazy is that Destiny 1 and 2 existed all within the lifespan of GTA 5. Like GTA 5 came out before Destiny 2 and lived longer than before Destiny 1 and lived longer than Destiny 2. And now GTA 6 comes out. If those estimates prove accurate, GTA 6 could generate more than $3 billion in revenue at launch alone. $3 billion. They could launch an entire Sony acquisition in 24 hours, dude. Wow. In 24 hours, they could do what took Bungie, to 10, 30 years? How crazy is that? My God. What do you think? Does GTA 6 sell $3 billion or does it flop? I doubt it flops, dude. A GTA 6 flopping would be crazy. All right, let's get into the game now, dude. I want to play some Destiny. We're launching this bad boy, dude. 25,743 hours, dudes. 25,743 hours. Someone send help, dude. Send help. GTA 5 Online made them $5 billion alone. Dude, that's the infinite money glitch right there. GTA is the game, dude. That's the game that outlives every game. Out-earns every game. Got the right idea, I guess. All right. We're loading in. We're getting into Destiny 2, dude. I'm excited. It's going to be so weird one day when we log in and play and we don't play Destiny anymore. That's going to be wild. Let's see what it says here. How much revenue has GTA 5 made Rockstar Games from the start until now? The best estimate for Grand Theft Auto 5 is that it's generated roughly $9 to $10 billion. God damn. $9 to $10 billion. Its first 24 hours, it made 800 million. Its first 3 days, it made 1 billion. By 2023, it had made 8 billion. And early 2025 estimates are 8.6 billion. That's crazy, dude. Someone said I'm not the biggest online guy. Yeah. Oh, what the? I have the wrong loadout on? That's a scuff, dude. How do I even have this on? Oh yeah, we land that 3-tapper. Give me that green. Hell yeah. Oh, that guy is hitting me hard. Heal up already. Land the shot. I suck. I have a crossbow? What am I doing with this? Grab that bow. I reload this fucking thing, dude. Rough, dude. Ah, sucks. He had too much health. Ooh, that guy was flying across the map. Peek it, little coward. Oh my god, dude, you freaking invisible coward. Shame on you, Hunter. Shame. A curse on both your houses. Dude, stop running! What is wrong with you? You need to stand and deliver. No. Dude, you keep running, you hunters. And you cost me my kill. This game sucks. Who makes this game? That's why this game had to die, dude. Freaking melees still don't register. How many years does it have to go on for? Where are you going? How many shots did I fire there? Ooh, 124? Oh, you're fucked, bud. You're suppressed, so you can't even go invis? You're absolutely cooked, my guy. Zen Volko, that's the guy who's in second place. I just gotta get one more kill and he's gotta get 3. We're respawning at the exact same time. So I need to win this next engagement. This next engagement is everything. And it's done. Let's go. GG's, GG's. Huge. I heard one guy spent $10 million on one day of GTA Shark cards. It's wild how much people spend in these games. Do they really? Did someone really spend $10 million in one day on GTA Shark cards? And what are Shark cards? Shark cards are microtransactions in Grand Theft Auto that let players buy the in-game money with real money instead of earning it through missions. Oh shit. What headlines in 2016 was leaked? Rockstar Games appeared to show a transaction worth about 1.03 million in shark cards in 2020. Multiple gaming outlets reported it as a single purchase. However, there's an important catch. The leaked data lacks context. Some Allison community members believe the figure may represent an aggregated store metric. Interesting. It's like a credit card in GTA. So does GTA, you can pay to win in GTA then? Is that how that works? Or how does that, what is that? So does Grand Theft Auto 5 have pay to win mechanics then? Has pay to progress mechanics and some pay to win elements. It's not straightforward as many mobile games. Shark cards let you convert real money into GTA money, damn. Dude, I love this freaking spare rations, dude. The spare benders. I need to bust out the mind benders. I got one of those left still. Use them more for gambling and cars. What would even pay to win be in a game like that? What is the end game? What is the end game of Grand Theft Auto? It's just making more money. You own nightclubs, bunkers, collecting everything. PvP and free mode. Heists. Oh, heist is the thing. Most repeatable endgame activity, yeah. GTA had a casino DLC, and I bet people gambled a lot when that came out, really. What was any of that, dude? What was any of that, even? Oh, I'm doing it all wrong. Apparently I could be doing fucking Icarus Dash? Or, what's that called? No way. Oh, yeah, Legend of Acris ammo? Damn. What is that the Hunter, the Titans do? That allows them to do that? Is it just the... It's just the new... It's just thruster? Is that just how that works now? So that's sick. Damn. It's still both those kills? Damn, I'm actually evil. No, I'm missing everything. Like a sliver off on those shots. Oh, whoa, that is how that works. It's so sick. Oh my god, that guy got clapped. I don't know why I have this crossbow on. This is an absolutely terrible weapon to have. Oh. Truly the metaverse we all crave, yeah. You think that's what GTA is going to be, is be like metaverse level? I feel like it's coming out at an interesting time. A lot of games are getting criticized heavily, but we're also waiting for games to want to really sink our teeth into. So it's an interesting dilemma in some ways. I'm there for it, dude. I'm just already committed to. I mean, Destiny 2 is cooked, right? That's June right now, so we got what, 5 more months. By the time 5 months comes up, we're gonna be hungry, and we will be ready for GTA. I'm gonna have to play GTA 5 for like the month leading up to it, though, right? Like, I gotta play GTA 5 to get like caught up with the narrative and the premise of it. Let's see what news stories we got here. Someone said I'm not the biggest. Someone said I'm not the biggest. Let's play it in the background. You'll love Trevor, yeah. This Guardian decided it was time for them to break up with Destiny 2 back in 2021. It made it onto the odd Steam reviews account. I'm sorry, Destiny 2. It's time we broke up. You have ruined my life, wasted my time with worthless grinding, and made me into an addict. Now, I can't stand you without thinking of all the glorious times we had spent together. Goodbye, Destiny. I'll see you again in 15 minutes. 1,500 hours on record. Dear God. I wonder if they quit for good then, or if they came back for the final shape. Sony's revenge on Bungie. Yeah, we covered that thoroughly. All right, let's do this. All right. Got some news stories we're covering here. I just have to type this in the chat real quick. One second. All right. What's good, bro, Staffa? Over there on YouTube now, huh? Were you able to read the campaign I whispered you? McKaysan, let me see this, actually. I think you made like a Destiny 3 thing, right? Let's pull this up. Let's see here. Nice. I haven't read it yet, but I will get to it. Nice. This is good. I read a little bit of it. This is great. It's easier on my old eyes at work than my phone, yeah. Those old geezer eyes, huh? All right, what other news do we got here? These Xbox news, dude. The Xbox shut down studio 2 weeks after reveal. This shit's crazy. They revealed this at the Xbox showcase. What's the game that Xbox revealed in their showcase that the studio might be shutting down, and it's only been 2 weeks since the last showcase? What was the name of this game, dude? Double Fine, Ninja Theory, Senua Gates, Hellblade. Senua, yeah. This is crazy. Xbox revealed this game 2 weeks ago during their massive showcase, and that was the one where the Destiny players spammed, "We want Destiny 3." And now, 2 weeks later, they are shutting down the studio, apparently. This is an incredible turnaround. I mean, how did you greenlight this to be in the showcase when you knew that it was gonna be shut down, and why? What the what is happening over there in Xbox? If you think the mismanagement at Bungie is crazy, just wait till you get a load of Xbox. Does this game really look that bad? Do you think this is the level of game that should get shut down? Do you think that people are just so unenthused about this game that it deserves the axe? I remember when it was first revealed, people didn't hate on it as much, like it wasn't the most hated game in the showcase. Although I will say, though, there's more than enough sword slop games out there from the PlayStation showcase to the Xbox One. I don't understand why we can't get a green light for a Destiny 3 when there's 10,000 sword games being made. There's no way that people are buying this many sword games, right? Like, who is buying, you know, 4 sword games a month every month at this point? Like, what the hell is happening here? Two weeks after announcing new game, Xbox Studio might shut down. Golly. The situation at Xbox somehow keeps getting more grim, following a report earlier today indicating Microsoft is considering shutting down Compulsion Games, the studio behind award-winning South of Midnight. Bloomberg reported that several other celebrated studios at Xbox are also on the chopping block. Double Fine and Ninja Theory are reportedly both facing closure. Ninja Theory just announced that it's working on a third game in the Hellblade series, titled Senua, during the Xbox Game Showcase on June 7th. Compulsion Games, Double Fine, and Ninja Theory were acquired by Microsoft over a 2-year period in a studio acquisition spending spree by Xbox. That was when Phil Spencer was just yoinking up every studio out there, creating the most insane portfolio for Xbox. While the studios will reportedly have an opportunity to buy back their independence from Microsoft, can Bungie do this? Can Bungie buy back their independence from Sony? Does anyone have $3 billion laying around? I mean, let's be real. If we had to give the actual evaluation or valuation, whatever the word is, of Bungie in its current state, it's probably worth actually $10 in a pack of smokes. So if we could buy the independence back and make a Destiny 3, that would be incredible. The craziest part is that some of these guys that made so much money, they actually could probably fund a Destiny 3 if they really cared, considering that like Christopher Barrett was owed like $50+ million. He might have made up to $100 million from his Sony acquisition. And that's 30 years, tenure, 30 years, stock options, right? There's several others that are in that category as well. Ironically, if they really wanted to, they could probably band together, buy the IP and make it themselves, but that obviously didn't prove to be well for them when they were independent, so it's unlikely that that would ever work out again. Not to mention a lot of those guys hate each other now. There's basically, wars started online every day with one person calling out the other person, so unlikely that would ever be the outcome, but could you imagine how incredible would that be? Even if they do, sources told Bloomberg that this result would end in significant layoffs. These 3 studios apparently aren't the only ones facing closure either, and employees at many Xbox teams have given up. Oh my gosh, at many Xbox teams have been given permission to seek new work. Wow. Bloomberg reported last week that major cuts were on the way for Xbox this July. Yes, they're doing the reset, if you don't know. Xbox got the red ring of death, and Asha Sharma is doing the hard reset. The news comes after recently appointed Xbox CEO and Chief Content Officer Matt Booty sent out a notice to employees that the games division was in a revenue decline that cannot continue. They explained that a combination of high hardware prices, lower than expected game sales, and lengthy developmental cycles had created an untenable situation. Numerous executives have recently departed the Xbox division, including the former head of Xbox Game Studios, Craig Duncan, and the other former chief of staff, Luis O'Connor. All I'm saying is if you're having trouble selling these Xboxes because the components are too high, okay, $800 is a lot. Even if it costs me $1,200, we might still buy it if it's looking like this. That's all I'm saying. If it looks like this, we might, I mean, I'll be willing to fork out a few hundred extra dollars. Asha, just saying. If you're interested, the offer's on the table. The downturn at Microsoft comes not long after the company's acquisition spree, which included the 2023 purchase of Activision Blizzard for about $69 billion and the 2021 acquisition of ZeniMax for $7.5 billion. Despite the rampant consolidation, it seems the company's purchases haven't borne out as it hoped. Unfortunately, the games industry has gone through a massive downturn. So they sold when stonks were up and high, and unfortunately, the entire industry is collapsing. And so all of these things are nowhere near worth those evaluation anymore, just as Bungie is nowhere near worth their $3.6 billion. There ain't no way either of these companies are worth that. Recent reports indicate that Xbox will be refocusing on its biggest franchises like Halo and The Elder Scrolls. After games like Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, and South of Midnight underperformed the company's expectations. Microsoft is apparently even considering spinning off Xbox from the company altogether. Wow. Restructuring it into a subsidiary or joint venture. It seems that very little is off the table for Microsoft at this point. Well, that would be really interesting. That would be pretty crazy. Can you imagine the outcome of that? Turbulent times for Xbox, dude. Turbulent times for Sony. Lots of layoffs with Bungie, like we mentioned. The games industry as a whole, it's all bad news right now. It's all bad news. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. Someone said I'll buy 5 of those Xboxes. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we like to hear. All right. Lord Daddy, my name is Bife, was absolutely furious about the news that Sony was taking revenge on Bungie. So much so that he posted a tweet and he had to delete it. And now he's responded to his deleted tweet. What did the original tweet say? I'm glad you asked. I have it pulled up right here. It said, "Excuse me, is Sony led by children? This is people's livelihoods we're talking about. Not to mention one of the only successful games as a service." And so that's where the screenshot ended for me. So someone had sent me the screenshot before it got deleted. So he had to delete that because it was a knee-jerk thing and because I want to wait for another source to corroborate those findings. If it was Jason Schreier, I'd trust it in a heartbeat, but it's not. I desperately hope what I read isn't true. We haven't gotten any news from Jason Schreier in regards to that, but Paul Tassi has weighed in as well. He said, "Wow, rude. Sorry, Paul. You're no Jason Schreier." I mean, you know what I'm saying? You're all right, Paul, but, you're no Jason Schreier. Right? We're not locked in like that. So that's where we're at with it. A lot of crazy drama going on right now. You got journalists arguing with other journalists, Paul Tassi versus the guy that said, that Sony is taking revenge. and it's a crazy time. It's the wild west out here on Twitter, dude. Be careful. People are catching strays left and right. People are getting jumped in the streets of Reddit. It's crazy. I think she had a stroke and spent time for counterfeit checks. Who? Brostafa said, my birthday is coming up. What are you thinking about getting me? Let's see here. What should I get, Brostafa, chat? What should I get? I'm going to get this for you. I got this bottle, this Absolute vodka, half drink. Okay. This helped me get through my sorrows of my Destiny depression. And this too will help you get through your third divorce. All right. You'll need this. This is for you. Cheers to Brostafa in the chat. Mod review. Oh no. Beers is having a good time today, dude. Good. Glad some of you get my humor, and some of you are like, well, this guy is insane. Basically, most things I say are sarcastic when I'm talking to the chat. Third divorce? They get easier with time, okay? Rip, says Mustafa. Ooh. Bungie deserved better is a tweet posted by ex-community manager Liana Rupert here on Twitter. And it was quote tweeted by another saying the developers at Bungie deserved better. So a little bit of distinction there, right? And this comes from a time where a lot of people are discussing, what happened, who is to blame, and more importantly, who got the short end of the stick here. Because if you don't know, I mean, there's a few people that got extremely enriched from Destiny 2 that are multi-millionaires now, tens of millions of dollars. And there's a lot of other people sitting around sad and sulking because, their favorite game died, their third place that they loved, their community is dying, and it sucks, man. It's a really sucky situation. So this is a breakdown of what's going on here. They responded to this saying, that's what I mean by Bungie. A lot of C-suite lost the right to consider themselves a part of it, basically saying that the people in the upper management that led to some of these bad decisions don't really get to claim their Bungie, right? Mostly Bungie is going to be perceived as the developers, the people, down there in the trenches, doing the hard work, creating the skyboxes and the story and the lore and everything, right? Which is, I think it's an okay thing for people in, their position to do that. What I always find fascinating is that people always advocate for the things that they're most a part of. So like, I'm a community player, right? Like I played Destiny before I was ever a content creator for many months. Like I just really liked the game. And so I was a player first, and then I turned into a content creator shortly afterwards, like after like less than a year of playing Destiny and just liked it so much. And then from that, I advocate for obviously the community. And then I also advocate for content creators, people that were in Bungie, right? That were, not in upper management, like Liana Rupert there. They obviously advocate for the devs. And then the upper management, they don't say anything, dude. They're just like, we're not talking about any of this. They all got rich and now they're like, fuck it, dude. We're on to the next thing. And so the narratives are interesting, right? Everyone puts the blame, it seems, mostly on the upper management, and they're just, they're not going to say anything. They're not going to deny anything. They obviously can't deny some things, right? There's definitely a certain degree of mismanagement that happened to Destiny 2 and from Bungie specifically, which would be attributed to the upper management. So unfortunately, they do get all the blame, and they also get the biggest paycheck. So it's like the weirdest mixture of emotions where you got these people that are just crazy rich off of Destiny now. And so the game's dead and they don't really care that much. They're retired anyways. But Leon Rupert's not in that category, obviously. But the point is the upper management, the C-suite, definitely no tears lost for Destiny, it would seem from them. No heartfelt message from Pete Parsons or Justin Truman or anyone up there. Who's the other guy? Tyson Green, right? Nothing from them. All right. Yeah, if you want to buy a lab t-shirt, you can do that. We got those now. Back in the store. I spotted one exotic weapon that didn't get a catalyst, Revision 0. Really? Did it already... Was it a crafted weapon? I wonder what they think about shopping malls. Who's that? Why? What is that? I don't get the joke. Fuck, I'm dense. I didn't get it. All right, let's see what other news we got in here. We are so back, my dudes. The original Black Ops and Black Ops 2 are being ported to PlayStation in July, courtesy of partners at Iron Galaxy. The most liked tweet ever from Call of Duty, 23.3 million views, 168,000 likes. Both will include campaign, multiplayer, and zombies. Let's go. Let's go. This was peak right here, dude. Oh my god. I will be there. No matter what. I'm gonna follow Treyarch back again after that. I had unfollowed them a while ago. Tired of their shit. We're back now. This is awesome, dude. Who's gonna play some Black Ops and Black Ops 2? This was probably my favorite era of Call of Duty. I don't know if it'll hit quite the same, if the nostalgia will feel like it was, but I'm gonna pretend it will. We're gonna huff the copium and believe that we're going back because this was some of the best shooter games that I ever played. Especially Black Ops 2. Black Ops 1, it was good, but Black Ops 2 was like actually incredible. Personally, I rank it as the #1 Call of Duty all time. People in chat that never played Call of Duty going, what is this guy talking about? The fall off of arc raiders needs to be studied. It's recently been exposed that you can play arc raiders without an anti-cheat. The cheaters they're not even getting banned in the game. Look at how bad the player count fall off is for this game. I mean, this player count fall off makes Marathon look good. I mean, not in its current status. I mean, Marathon has technically got 7,000 people online, and this has 48,000. So, we're not doing that bad. But in terms of the fall off, like you had hundreds of thousands, and now you're down to tens of thousands. That's crazy. Here's the breakdown of the situation.
You can full aimbot. So you can now run arc raiders without an anti-cheat. So yeah, this game just gets worse and worse every fucking day. You can now literally delete the anti-cheat for this game off your PC and run it. And you can rage hack and you will never be banned. Me and Liza, we did an interview with the cheaters the other day, one of like the most known cheaters in this game that just haven't been banned. And we literally interviewed them and they exposed the fact that you can literally run this game without an anti-cheat. You can literally go in your files, delete the anti-cheat, and run the game and just rage hack and never get banned. You'll never get detected. You can full aimbot, ESP, giant cheat, everything, and you will not get banned. So I'm not going to show you how to do this, but basically, it's in your file somewhere, you delete it, and you literally just restart your PC, and you run the game, and you can also do this in your task manager. I know another Arc Raiders content creator, I don't want to, like, put it out there, but you can literally task manager, and it's the anti-cheats in there, you can literally just end the task, and you don't have an anti-cheat running while you play Arc Raiders. This has got to be the most fuck shit ever. I don't know how they fuck up this bad to where you don't need an anti-cheat to play this game, but it literally just came out and they don't even realize it. Either they don't realize it or they just don't give a fuck. I'm probably gonna go with the don't give a fuck because they don't give a fuck, literally. I don't know when they're gonna fix this. Probably never. I think they've fully given up on the game. But yeah, you can now literally play Arc Raiders without an anti-cheat and fully cheat. So yeah. So you can now...
That's insane, dude. This sounds like a familiar story, though. This sounds like a Bungie after the game went to Steam. Do anyone remember the Beyond Light era? My God, dude. This is really bad, though. Being able to delete the anti-cheat from your task manager and then launch the game with hard cheats and not getting detected or banned because there's literally no anti-cheat. This is crazy. This has 56,000 likes alone, which means this has millions of views. Millions of views. Everyone has seen this now. This is top trending within the category. And it kind of shows you why Arc Raiders is at least trending downwards a decent amount. I mean, I'm not saying this is the only factor that goes into it, but man, the fall off is really bad. This game is not sustaining its population. It's not sustaining its player base. When you look at its 1 week, it recently hit its first ever 24-hour peak where it didn't hit 50,000 people, that's pretty brutal, right? That's pretty bad when you're not even hitting 50,000 people. Still absolutely crushing marathon numbers. So don't get me wrong. The game's not going to die as fast as Marathon is. Like Marathon is about to get its every end is a new beginning article in the next, I'm going to guess in the next 2 months. But this game, it definitely has more longevity. It has a much longer runway because it made so much money during this period in time. The only problem is you don't want your game to zero out. Like you don't want the player base to get so low. This puts a lot of pressure on the current devs and the future projections for this project. They've already decided to update the game at a much slower cadence. Instead of doing like monthly updates like they were doing, they've decided to do every 6 months a bigger update, a more sizable one. So they're kind of regressing from their aggressive live service approach where there's just new stuff, into, longer droughts of time. So obviously that hasn't excited the fans. Clearly they're not logging in to play the game that has nothing new in it. But those issues combined with the anti-cheat is really spelling a lot of trouble for Arc Raiders right now. The game that was once touted as the new Fortnite for this period of time. During the Christmas era, this was it, dude. This was the game everyone was playing. And it's such a good game. Like the quality of the game is incredible. It seems like live service is a big issue. Mismanagement is an issue. And these factors are turning Arc Raiders into what might one day be, maybe a year or two from now, a dead game. Which is crazy to even think that, right? I bet the game runs better. Not that it had a problem. Arc Raiders was very optimized, but these anti-cheats can hurt performance. You think so? People running it without the anti-cheat just to get some better frames? Left me with the dog? What's that? I'll be right back, Housen. I'll be right back, chat. Give me 1 second. All right, chat, we're back. All right, here we go. We got a big one here today, chat. My Name is Bife is furious about the ending of Destiny 2 because the narrative was about to get so juicy. The winnower was about to be introduced, this gigantic cosmic entity. Like, this would have been such a cool narrative. Like, I wish we had gotten this instead of Renegade's Star Wars slop. Let's see what Bife has to say about the topic.
Greetings, Guardians. My name is Bife here. There's a quote that I've been replaying in my mind for the last 24 hours or so that I promise is relevant to today's story, in moral value if not in a narrative one. When Guardians defeated one of the most iconic foes in Destiny's history, Oryx the Taken King, there was a character watching the entire event unfold in the background. His name is Toland the Shattered, and he understood the nature of the evil that had just been defeated. He also saw the consequences. He saw the Guardians walking away from the corpse of a god, and saw the power vacuum, a space left in a pantheon that could destroy stars and civilizations. It's a value judgment, but Toland saw this as a terrible mistake. We didn't hear him calling out to us in the Ascendant Plane, but he said this: "You fools, you disastrous, bumbling squanderers. You might have been kings and queens of the deep, but you have toppled Oryx, and you have not replaced him." From then on, if you find Toland the Shattered in his astral form, a small orb of light penetrating only from the Ascendant Plane, he will call you a few different titles, particularly if you have killed Oryx, either in Destiny 1 or Destiny 2. Slayer of Oryx, Sharp One, but amongst those titles, he will also call you Squanderer. A decade removed from the Taken King and its events, Destiny 2's End of Service update has gone live, and it appears incredibly clear now that the narrative team was forced to make a harrowing choice. Option 1: quickly and messily bring their current saga to a conclusion that inevitably would be unsatisfying and full of holes. Or Option 2: unpick the interesting threads that were going to be made and leave them hanging and on display so that we might know where the story was going to be headed. That is an impossible choice to have to make, but faced with only a few months and the prospect of Destiny having a mediocre send-off that it didn't deserve, the narrative team chose Option 2. And if there was ever to be a future for Destiny, I think they were right to do so. This means, however, that in-game now, with this final update, the narrative team has laid bare character threads that were being set up in the Fate saga, and have shown us where the story was ultimately going.
It'd be interesting to know how long the Fate saga was meant to be, right? Like, obviously, when you initially start telling it, you're going to start off not slow, like you want to get people's attention quickly. So starting off with the Winnower might have been a better play than the 9, if that's where it was going. But, you know, some foreshadowing is always a key element in good storytelling. I wonder if the Fate saga was meant to be like 5 years or 10 years? Like, what was the goal here?
Most of these are intriguing and heartwarming moments that are also tragic because of the potential that Bungie's universe held. Narrative beats that could have been entire expansions on their own were reduced to lore tabs and small conversations with characters in-game. Destiny's voice cast, as usual, has been excellent, but it has been particularly heart-wrenching to watch each member of that cast give their swan song performances. But amongst it all, there is a secret ending that is only accessible after having completed enough triumphs. This ending is what broke me. Not because it made me sad or wistful, not because it is bad, it is actually a good bit of content. It broke me because it made me go straight back through the stages of grief to anger. To be exceedingly clear without going into spoilers, again, this ending is not poorly written. It is not bad. It lives up to the legacy of great moments in Destiny, and I'm not mad at the narrative team for having crafted it. No, I am mad all over again because it has made a shattered one of me. Now, just like Toland, I find myself calling out into the void to someone who is walking away and will probably be unable to hear me, because I too am calling them fools, disastrous, bumbling squanderers. I'm being vague about the contents of this ending because here at this moment, I want to drop a spoiler warning for all of you. Anyone who hasn't played or seen it for yourself, turn off now and return to this video later. If you're intent on seeing it here and you don't mind being spoiled, you'll see it in a moment. You'll know when you're caught up. I'll see you in the forest when you are. For those of you that have seen it, or who would like to see it here instead, this is effectively the final note that Destiny's story has been left on. It reveals where the current Fate saga was headed. It shows that unlike the meandering days of Destiny's first Light and Dark saga, there was a plan for the Fate saga. It also reveals that our ultimate enemy was just around the corner, and that the conflict with the Nine was only an opening act, an abstraction. This is where the Fate saga was really going.
Hello, Inca Chum. There's blood on our hands, isn't there? From this little spat. Even they know it. That our meeting is inevitable. The Eternal Nine. Big deal. Between you and me, who isn't? You know, the pieces they want you to knock down are already set. Ending with me. Showdown at the end of time between champions of dark and light. That's why they courted you. Impressed their own importance upon you. They need your violence because I exist. But they don't get to put you on hold and walk away. Drag those 8 egos back in. Do what you do best. Impose your will. That's what a weapon's for, after all. End it on your terms. This is what you wanted, isn't it? In your heart of hearts. Don't worry. When it's over, I won't abandon you. Take a breather. Take your libations. Let that vigor seep back into your bones. Get hungry.
That wasn't a 9. But it knew you. Very well. I don't know what that was.
So I feel like that sets us up for a Destiny 3, if there ever is one, right? Like that's kind of, we wouldn't necessarily pick up with the exact same story beats, but we would have to face the winnower, right? And at least it gives Bungie or any studio that ever picks up the project potentially a clear entry point of where the narrative could begin. I don't know. I think it's it would have been a really interesting narrative to follow through with, the Fate saga, but it also does create a cool startup point for Destiny 3, right? Do you agree?
Some of you who are Destiny veterans might understand what just happened. For the rest of you who are confused, I'll explain. The man there that was talking was called Lodi. He is an emissary of the Nine. As an emissary, he is unique because he has the ability to host consciousnesses of larger beings greater than himself. He can only do this briefly, but frequently this ability is used to call upon beings known as the Nine in Destiny. They're essentially gods tied into the gravity of the planets of our solar system. That's a big simplification, but it gets the idea across. As Lodi said at the end of the conversation, what possessed him there was not one of the Nine. It was a different god entirely. To put it plainly, and with all of my years of lore knowledge going into this, even with just a cursory look at things, I can tell you definitively that entity that possessed Lodi was a figure known as the Winnower. Those who saw the end of the final shape may know of something that's named a little similarly, if only because it starts with a W and an I. The main antagonist of the Light and Dark saga, the Witness. It's the one that sent the pyramid ships to Earth, caused the collapse, which is the apocalypse of Destiny, and for the longest time it was presumed by characters both in lore and in real life that it was the source of the darkness itself. But of course, those linked in with the lore would know that there was always a fair degree of mystery surrounding who the real source of true darkness was. And in the end, it was revealed that the Witness was lying to us for its own gain, that it was never the true source of darkness in this universe. What's more, the Witness made it clear in the final raid of the Light and Dark saga, Salvation's Edge, that it was distinct and separate from the Winnower. For those not versed in the lore, I will put it really simply as to how big the Winnower is. The Winnower effectively created the Witness. The Witness
Jeez.
and all those that made it up might have chosen to become what they became, but the Winnower absolutely still had a hand in their creation. The Winnower is such a big deal that it supersedes time. It was there before time and the universe began. It's not right to call it the first entity, because it existed before the concept of something being first. It is inherent to the universe, if its own tales are to be believed. It is a part of the universe you cannot destroy because it is immutable, like gravity, or light, or mass. It has been there to steer the course of entire factions in Destiny's history, like the Hive, and it has watched us since we first set foot upon the mortal plane as Guardians. It knows our actions intimately. It watched us destroy the Witness. It watched us pick up the Tablets of Ruin. It watched us kill Oryx. It has been watching. And in this
We need to kill it and turn it into an exotic weapon. Kill it, give it to Eris, turn it into an exotic weapon. I'm thinking it's going to be like a Galahorn with like an exotic rocket launcher on both shoulders. Double Galahorn. The Winnower.
moment here where Lodi has been possessed by the Winnower in front of a shard of the Traveler in the EDZ, Bungie's narrative team essentially laid out their game plan for where the Fate Saga was going to go. The Nine have been enacting the chaos of the Fate Saga's events because there is only one thing that they fear. They can see through time itself and experience every moment of it. They understand that the actions of beings from their births to deaths mostly don't affect them, but they have looked to the end of the universe and seen one thing that could truly challenge them, one thing that could nullify them and destroy them. It is one of the only things they fear because it is synonymous with death itself. And that thing is the Winnower. This thing created the universe through conflict. This thing that is the true progenitor of the philosophy of sword logic that is so famous in Destiny.
Dude, imagine a Destiny ending where we face the Winnower, this like crazy, like way bigger than the Witness, the craziest battle ever, and you kill the Winnower, right? We literally kill the Winnower, but by doing so, we destroy the universe. The screen slowly closes in like a black hole, and just like that, just complete silence. The servers shut down. The game is over. That's it. That's the end. Just fucking curtains, dude. That's how we end it. We kill the that's how you end a game in style, dude. And then on social media they announced Destiny 3 coming out next week or something. I don't know.
The idea that something can only exist if it is strong enough to survive and kill anything that might rise to challenge it. This conflict between the champions of light and darkness at the end of time was the real conflict at the heart of the Fate Saga and where things were headed. It was not a battle between the members of the Nine and those that they held in their sway. To put it in terms that might be better understood by people who've not played Destiny, because I imagine there might be a few of you, I want you to instead think of a popular franchise like Lord of the Rings. The last major big bad that we killed, which was the Witness, is a little bit like Saruman in Lord of the Rings. Powerful and evil and corrupted and capable of great destruction, but ultimately, he was laid low and handed a sizable defeat at the end of the second book. But the second film, it's an ultimate defeat, and the events of the third, of course, change it significantly, but we're getting into the weeds. Point is, Saruman was not the ultimate evil. He was just a puppet of the true enemy in Lord of the Rings. Sauron, the Dark Lord who lives in Mordor, the one who created the One Ring, the real enemy of the entire story, who has been emphasized but in the background all along. If the Fate Saga and Destiny's story at large stops here and never proceeds from this moment, it'd be a bit like stopping the story of Lord of the Rings and Tolkien's universe generally at the end of the Two Towers and never seeing the return of the king.
Damn.
Never getting that third book in the trilogy. We
Damn.
will never see what could have come from this saga. The great plot threads that were unpicked and left for us to see are tragic because they represent entire expansions worth of content, as I said. We will never get to see the battle between Keitel and Xivu Arath, an empress of a war-bound empire, and a god of war herself. We will never get to see the Awoken's original homeland, a place where Mara might go to find her lover, a place bound from time and space and dimension. We will never understand the dark plots of Savathun and how she planned to pursue vengeance and ultimately escape our reality by ascending into some kind of higher being. We will never see what was meant to happen in old Chicago, the mysteries that were going to be revealed in the next expansion, Shattered Cycle, mysteries that might well have led to this reveal under different circumstances. We will never see how we as the fated weapon bound the Nine and brought them into our fold so that we might fight against a greater threat that potentially led to humanity's extinction.
Damn.
And we will never see how the conflict...
That's what we got to make some fan fiction. We're gonna need some Winnower fan fiction. That's what we need.
With the Winnower, the one who burnt down the Tree of Silver Wings in the Black Garden, the one who created the primal patterns of the universe, the one who ruled the flower game at the beginning of time. We will never see how that conflict was meant to play out. And so perhaps you can understand best now why I look at this moment and feel so bitter. I've covered the story of this game for a decade and followed it since the beginning 3 years prior to that. And now, just like Toland the Shattered, I am left standing before a throne left vacant that should be filled. I am left to marvel at the foolish, bumbling squanderers who let a universe I love fall into a point of ruin. To talk about real video game economics for just a second, there are a lot of sound financial reasons why making a video game like Destiny is so expensive. We've all heard the floated figures that it would essentially take $500 million by some estimates to make a third Destiny. There is a huge risk of making a franchise like this continue. Here's the thing though. Destiny has been getting sabotaged by decisions over the last 3 years.
Even Bife's on board. That's what I'm talking about, baby. We all have a very similar opinion about where Destiny 2's issues have come from. It's not us. It's not that the players just left and got bored of it. It was Bungie's mismanagement. And across the board, if you'd ask PvP players, PvE players, lore experts, it don't matter who you ask. You can ask anyone. They're all like, yep, it's been bad for several years now. And it's no surprise that the players left and no surprise that it had to come to an end.
Always by people who were capable and potentially would have been able to make such a call and would have been able to take such a risk, but who were unwilling to bet on a relatively sure thing at first, which then fell into a much harder gamble to justify. And all of this happened because of their own actions. I am of course referring to both Bungie and Sony in this, but let's look at Sony's part for this particular notion. Live service games are a little bit like a tree. If you don't water the tree or give it the nutrition to feed its roots, it will wither and die. Equally, live service games need nurturing. By laying off employees, refusing to allow Bungie to continue and confirm the future of Destiny to its audience, and by slimming down the content offerings for Destiny, Sony has essentially neglected to nurture the game and the franchise and its future. They were refusing to water the tree. They were not refreshing the soil to give it new nourishment. And the thing is, these actions were not taken in isolation. They were not completely made private, because when you lay off developers, when you slim down the game, and when you essentially project a smaller version of Destiny, those are all signs to the general population and the player base that Destiny was slowing down. Of course, all these choices are made from a budgetary perspective. They're designed with the idea that the team will slim down and become more efficient, and that they'll be able to do more with less. These actions are not purely budgetary, because they have consequences past the balance sheet. Every time Sony moved to make a more nimble version of Bungie, with a version of Destiny being made with fewer staff, Sony was sending a message that they weren't nurturing their tree, they were neglecting it. They were squandering it. And so, players left, and the cycle repeated, and Destiny's decline became a self-fulfilling prophecy. You cannot have returns on investment if you refuse to invest. And that is ultimately what I think Sony has done here. It's hard to make financial calls when none of us know the balance sheet, but I think this logic rings true as a player because I speak of the lived experience of people who have seen this franchise go this particular direction. It's the reason people came back now, even when they didn't for the expansions of Edge of Fate and Renegades. It's the reason that people left after the final shape and why the player base took a massive hit when it came to the layoffs, both after the final shape and during the season of The Witch. Whenever a studio or their publisher projects a sign that the game is going to be smaller, slower, and lesser, the player base reacts in response. They give a reciprocal reaction. Whenever you neglect your live service game, people will not play it, because they do not know if there is a future for it. As a result, and perhaps surprisingly to no one, the best time for Sony to have greenlit Destiny 3 was when they acquired Bungie. The second best time is now. That bet on Destiny 3 gets a lot harder to make now because of their own actions, because they have squandered their best chance to make Destiny successful. This, of course, isn't only on Sony. I've been focusing on them, but of course Bungie's own leadership has been disastrously veering from mess to mess and mistake to mistake for years now. They too are amongst the vast reasons that this universe has been squandered and all of its potential is at risk. They share the blame, but this final decision, which a fair swath of the industry at large is also equally baffled by, was also Sony's decision. So I focus on them in this moment. If you think that that balance is unfair, don't worry, I've done my fair share of talk about the misadventures of those who buy too many cars in previous bits of content. All the things I've said about sentiment make no difference to a bottom line and a balance sheet, but I think I need to appeal to one other idea, which is simply that games, and for that matter any source of media that you fund, is not just a revenue source. Games can be art, entertainment, and also a place to meet friends. They are third spaces where people can experience joy and challenge and laughter. There is no monetary value in such things, but anyone who's got a heart knows that such things shouldn't be observed in the context of return on investment, or a projection of growth, or whether something hits its revenue targets. Game making is always an alchemy, because there are two sides to it. One that is financial, and one that is artistic. It might be tempting to say that the financial side of it is always more important, and in practical terms, one side cannot exist without the other. But I think that logic needs to equally apply to the artistic side, where someone is creating a beautiful thing that players want to interact with. People are not signing up to play Skinnerbox, the experience of time wasting, where you only push buttons all day arbitrarily and fill bars to line someone else's pocket. The artistic side of games is what enables money to be made in the first place, because you wouldn't be playing Destiny if it didn't feel good to shoot, or didn't have an engaging story, or didn't have great endgame raids, or didn't have a social fabric that pulled you together, or didn't have Crucible, or even Gambit. These are things that change it from a soulless experiment in lining someone else's pocket to a game that people want to buy and play. This is what turns progression into meaning. This is what keeps people playing. This is why you are successful in the first place. My plea, for as little as it might be heard, is for anyone who watches this that does have some degree of sway or control to remember that this is not just a financial risk, but it is also something deeply human. Like lots of video games, this is art. It was made with care. It is worth continuing to invest in. And no, it isn't perfect, but nothing truly can be. It is flawed, but it is special in spite of those flaws. If there is anyone watching who has some position of power, I encourage you to return to the balance sheets. Remember that this art has potential beyond what your return on investment might be initially, but it has potential to be great and figure out a way to continue making Destiny in some form. Do not let
Destiny 3, but instead we have loot boxes and gotcha mechanics and vicious gambling. I'm joking, of course, but you have to make money, obviously. Like, it's a business at the end of the day. And while I do think that art is something that shouldn't necessarily be pocket watched, right? We can't just dissect it and see how valuable it is and then once it's trash, throw it away necessarily. But someone has to foot the bill, right? Like, someone has to pay for the servers to go online. And, it's the players, it's the consumers, and we spend a good amount of money playing Destiny, and there ain't enough of us, I guess. And Bungie made some bad decisions, and unfortunately, we're left with the predicament of not having the funding for a Destiny 3, which really sucks. And I think the only solution for something like this is a studio that can do it cheaper, right? Obviously, Bungie's very, very expensive. They're bougie. They got, they got the crazy Seattle budgets, right? Obviously, you can go look at a studio like Embark. They've made Arc Raiders for a third the cost of Marathon. So clearly they got something. They're working on something over there. I don't know what they're doing. Apparently it's AI or something. I have no clue. There's no exact reason as to why they're able to do it so much cheaper. They just are. So whatever their methodology is that they're pulling off, they're doing something right over there. So you have that, and then obviously, adding more monetization. I would have taken loot boxes as much as we would have roasted Bungie if they put an article out saying it's either this, every end is a new beginning, or loot boxes. I'd be like, sign me up, baby. We're opening these loot boxes, dude. As much as I hate to say it, because I don't want those types of mechanics in a game like this, because I feel like it diminishes the quality of the game. It diminishes the community. It creates, people getting addicted to like vicious gambling and stuff. It's like, sucks, but you can't help but feel like, how do we win here? How do we continue to get Destiny? And as far as we can tell, man, it seems like it's going to require, we have to compromise on something, right? What are we going to compromise on? That's really the question I want you to, or think about or wrestle with, is what would you be willing to compromise on to get future Destiny content? Because it's not just going to be the same thing as always.
Let this franchise fall into nothingness. Because though it is my opinion, I know I'm not alone when I say that I believe Destiny has the potential to not only make you a ton of money, but also to be a remarkable piece of art, all at the same time. It
has
is a
culture.
risk, I grant that. That is a hard fact. That is a reality of the situation. But to not take this opportunity is equally a risk, because you are at risk of leaving something great to wither. You are the one who holds the reins, if you are indeed hearing this, as I hope you are. The decision, of course, is yours to make, and you see now, perhaps, that there is more than just a number here. There is more than just a financial statement. There is potential. I ask you to nurture it, not squander it. Please. The choice, if you are hearing this, is hopefully in your hands. For the rest of you watching, thank you very much. I will be resuming my normal lore content going forward. I will be making sure that I cover the last update here to Destiny, and I will be around for a long time after that.
All right, there it is. That was Bife's breakdown of the situation. Pretty crazy stuff, dude. I wish we should have started with the winnower. You know what I'm saying? We should have came right out of the gates. Like, we killed the witness, and then I guess we could do the echoes, or maybe like the echoes pissed off the winnower. Figure it out, right? That way it was like this climactic ending. We killed this raid boss, but now we awokened this bigger, badder boss out there in the universe. So that way it's not like, man, nothing will ever be that good again. The sentiment should be like, holy crap, dude. That was crazy, but it's about to get way crazier. That's what it should have been, man. That's really where the narrative should have gone. Unfortunately, we got Matter Spark. So that sucked. But let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. All right, chat. That's a wrap for me tonight. I got to head out. I'm out like sauerkraut. I got to go to the gym. We're teaching jiu-jitsu. And so I got to jump out and go. Let me give a shout out to everyone that's here, though. Thank you for following, subbing, vibing, chilling. Appreciate every last one of you. And we'll be back mañana. All right. See you later, Tony. Hi, Biusup. Have a good night. Have a good evening. Later, McKinney Stan. Later, my zombie side. See you. Have a good one. Later, Pesty.